Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dr. Cammy Goes Keto, where it is Motivation Monday. And I'm here with the wonderful Nikki from my sugar addiction group. And we are having so much fun together, even before we started recording. And I wanted Nikki to tell us what one of her clients said about us.
She watched one of our videos and she just said, "I think you guys play off each other so well. And I just love that you're real women. Like you're not wearing 10 pounds of makeup and you're not like the perfect size 6. Like you guys are, messy like real women are, and you're just encouraging us to keep going on our path." And I just thought that was so nice because, a lot of the times we do let the mess that we are prevent us from encouraging other people or becoming a coach or becoming whatever we want to be in life. And that's so sad because there's so many people that could be doing so much good in this world if they weren't afraid to break out of the shame that, sugar and food sometimes keeps us in, right?
Yeah, and just being game to put it out there, right? I mean, our biggest goal is to help other people, right? It's
Correct.
and also I'm self-centered because I'm an addict, so it's also to help myself, with my issues and what's going on with me, and to help keep me accountable, right? Like if you're out
Yeah.
there speaking and saying these things, you should be trying your best to do these things.
Yeah, 100%. But that's the beauty of being a coach and somebody that's encouraging other people is like when you encourage others, your brain has to also absorb what you're saying. And it's like, oh, well, why don't you tell me that?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. All right, so with that being said, we're here to talk today about two things. We want to talk about why New Year's resolutions often fail and some of the reasons behind why they fail. And then we want to talk after that about what actually works for lasting change. So I'm going to start us off here and we're going to talk a little bit about why these things fail. And there's a few different reasons why New Year's resolutions fail. And the truth is, it's not usually because people lack discipline. It's because people generally rely on willpower and they ignore the brain biology and they fail to address what we call your identity and your systems. So, willpower, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about identity when we talk about what actually works for lasting change. But willpower is limited and it's finite and it's affected by a lot of things in your life, right? Like stress or sleep or hunger or your emotional load. And when life gets hard, your habits, not your willpower, will determine your behavior. So when life gets hard, willpower goes away, and that makes it very difficult to sustain a New Year's resolution. So that's the first thing, is that you don't want to base it on willpower.
Yeah. And number two, the brain resists loss of reward. So many resolutions remove pleasure like sugar, comfort, social media scrolling, while adding discomfort like restriction, exercise, etc. So our brain interprets this as a threat and responds with cravings, fatigue, and then the rational
Yeah, and right along with that goes number three. Your resolutions will focus on outcomes and not on systems. Excuse me. So goals like weight loss or quitting sugar focus on results rather than on your daily behaviors. And the brain changes through a repetition of small actions, not the pressure to achieve an outcome. So, what you really need are small, regular actions instead of just trying to focus on one particular outcome. Yeah, and the way that you phrase that, and the things that you say to yourself are really important too. And maybe in our next video, what we could do is talk about the daily affirmations that I created in a list that we can get to you guys if you want it. Because the way that you talk to yourself is really, really important, the way that you word it. So we could talk about that too. It's important. Okay, the fifth thing that happens that helps our resolutions fail is that we make the change too big and too fast. And so sudden dramatic activities stress the pathways in the brain. When we're like, okay, I'm going to lose, 30 pounds in 30 days or whatever crazy thing you decide you're going to do. The nervous system prefers small, predictable wins over like extreme shifts. So that's something that you need to keep in mind when you're trying to think about your new year coming up and how you're going to go about making changes in your life that are going to last and be good for you. Right, and then you can build upon it. Yeah, I'm lucky in that way because I live alone. It's easier for me because I don't have to have anything in the house and I don't. So yeah, that's really important, your environment. And also then I like to cook at home because I know exactly what's going into the food that we're eating for now. So, all right. And the last thing we're going to discuss is how one slip can become a quote failure. All or nothing thinking turns a small slip into shame and quitting. The brain learns from patterns, not perfection. And so that's really important. And so we're going to talk now about the things that are going to help us create lasting change. But the bottom line here is that, lasting change will come from identity, systems, and small daily actions, not resolutions that are driven by willpower alone. So be thinking about that when you're going to be looking at what you're going to do in the future for 2026. Okay, Nikki, you want to take it away for part two? Yeah, so the first thing is the most important thing, I think, and that's identity comes first. So instead of saying, I'm trying to change blank, you begin with the identity, I am someone who takes care of my blank, like health, right? I am somebody who takes care of my health. I am somebody who is getting healthier metabolically. The brain naturally acts in alignment with who you believe you are. So that's really important that you have to be telling yourself that you have a new identity and that that's what you're going to be living your life at, through, from this day forward. Right. And it reminds you of what you're up to, right now. So that's the other thing, is that I think rigorous honesty is really important too, because when you're still and quiet enough for that split second before you make the decision to eat something, you'll realize that what you're up to is really not that. So, exactly. And that's when you grab the phone and you call one of us. Right. And it's important that you make these systems things that can be repetition, because change, create the change through the repetition, not the pressure. So they have to be small, which brings us to number 3. Make the habit small and non negotiable. The brain resists big change but will embrace small wins. Choose actions that are so small that they feel almost too easy, and then just repeat them consistently. Choose actions that are going to be doable and that are going to be doable consistently on a regular basis. That's why, for me, a 10-minute walk is something that I keep in my mind a lot, whether it's after I eat, or if I'm wanting to eat something that's off plan, or I'm upset about something that happened, or, a 10-minute walk. Mike always talks about a 10-minute walk and how helpful that can be. So, and I do, I'll just, go out and walk for 10 minutes around my development just real quick. And that can, clear the air and get some fresh air on you and help you out there. Exactly. Yeah, and you can even put your gym clothes on before you come home, right? You can put them on at work right before you leave. I used to do that. And then that way, when I came home, I was more motivated to actually go work out because I already had the clothes on. I was good to go. Yeah. Okay, so number 5 is expect slips and plan for them. Progress is not linear in this situation. Slips are information, not failure. I always say there is no failure, just feedback, right? So, no failure, just feedback. Planning how to respond to setbacks keeps the brain out of shame and engaged in learning. So, you have to look at it as a learning experience if you have a slip, and you need to, like I like to say, have a curiosity about it, right? So that you're not beating yourself up, and just be like, God, I'm curious why I didn't do well in that situation, and what is it that I can learn from this so that the next time the situation comes up, I'll be able to have a little more success in that area. Exactly. And that's why I have some beef sticks in my car and some in my backpack, because sometimes I'll end up getting hungrier earlier than I'm anticipating or thinking. And so, especially if something happens that's stressful to me, because I associate stress with eating still. And so it's just good to have something there so that even if you're eating like off of your plan, you're still not eating, for me, sugar, flour, or caffeine, and that's a better choice if you have to. But, big slips are going to come, and that's okay. It is. It's part of the learning process. And when we took the class to become a sugar detox and addiction coach, Nikki and I, they had a whole chapter there on relapse. And I was so happy to hear that, because I was like, okay, so it really is part of, this road, and part of ultimately being successful is that you will have some relapses, and that's okay. It does. So just stick with it. Hmm. Yeah, so in my family growing up and with my ex-husband, we have this saying called Cammy clean. Like it's Cammy clean. And so like when I would or it's Cammy packed, like the suitcase would be packed and it was Cammy packed, because I couldn't do it perfectly like he could. Like his spatial relation mind was just, I mean, he could pack a suitcase and he could load a dishwasher, but he wouldn't come and do the dishwasher. So I would do it, I would get it done, I would run it, I would put the dishes away, and it was Cammy done. And it wasn't perfect and it wasn't totally clean, but like, you're not going to get germs when I wash down my countertops, but it's not perfect, but it's done. And that goes, and done is done, right? So don't worry about doing it perfect or about people pleasing or about looking good. Just do it, and do it consistently over time, and you'll find that that really makes you feel good about the things that you're getting done. So the bottom line for what actually works in creating this lasting change is that you want sustainable change that comes from your identity, which is really important, your systems or your habits, your environment, you have to look at that, and you want small daily actions that are practiced consistently over time. So do you see how that makes like such a different New Year's resolution than to say I'm going to try to lose 30 pounds in 6 months. Well, you would really want to say I'm working on getting healthier metabolically and plan to walk consistently after I eat my dinner for 10 to 15 minutes, and journal at night my gratitude. Something like that that's more manageable. And Yeah, and I'm really glad we're having this discussion because I was talking to Mike yesterday about it, and I am coming up on day 90. Today, I think, is day 85 or 86. Today's Monday, and then Friday is going to be 90 days of no sugar, flour, or caffeine. And that was the original commitment that I made. I said, okay, I'm going to do that. I'm going to just clean the slate. And I was really hoping that by day 90, like my cravings would be gone and metabolically I would feel better and the thoughts in my head would be different and I wouldn't be craving the caffeine anymore. But no, none of that's true. I have to tell you honestly is that I'm still having all that go on. And then, the reality is it's 3 months, it's 90 days, it's like really do it for 2 years and then let's see what's going on. So I'm glad we're having this discussion. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, I know. So it just seems so silly, right? But when I was going through the 90 days, I was just like, and then the other thing too is that it was a short-term commitment. I was like, okay, I can do anything for 90 days. I can do it for 90 days. I can do it for 90 days. Well, now I want to do it for longer because what I have is so awesome, what I've gained. I haven't gained weight. I've lost probably about 18 pounds by now. And yeah, yeah. And I feel great. I think good. I sleep well. I have energy. I'm into some ketosis every once in a while here. Like today, my ketones were zero point 0.6. So they're over zero point 0.5, which made me happy. So yeah, and I don't want to give all that up just for a few hits of dopamine for a couple of seconds from what something would taste like. Yeah, it's really cool. So we're glad you're on this journey with us. We hope you enjoyed this today, learning about New Year's resolutions and how you really want to make long-term lasting changes. And I'm going to put the PDF for the handouts that we have here in our first comments on our YouTube channel. I'll work on getting that done. I'm still IT challenged, but getting better and better. And the other thing Nikki and I wanted to tell you is we're going to do our little catwalk. We'll do that next week because we're feeling like there's not a lot of change there yet. Although we both did pretty well getting through the holidays and everything, but we'll do that next week. We really wanted to get this out about New Year's resolution so you can think about that before the new year comes. No, we are not. And we're not supposed to be, right? All right, everybody. So take good care. Subscribe and comment. We love that. Bye. Bye, Nikki.